Hey guys, my name's Troy Hoffman. I'm the founder of Simplurus and the founder of Balancegenics and an executive mentor. What we do every week here is we're creating these things called Fireside Chats. We basically transform this entire space into a studio every week. 4, 3. In the house today we've got Walt Tomolina. Today in the studio we have Ty Cannon. He's also one of the top anti-aging doctors in the country and probably even in the world. And what I want you to see is the opportunity to be exposed to all these different entrepreneurs, all these different people that can share their wisdom and insights, because one idea can change your life today.
They want to be part of the outcome, but they don't necessarily want to be part of the process because it's scary. And if they hear you say collision and they're afraid of conflict, I gotta go to the restroom, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here, yes, they've done that.
I realized there's over 27 different hormones and hormone metabolites that exert a tremendous effect on your body, your mind, your performance, and whether you live or die.
You can actually like apply something to that.
Oh, absolutely.
We went door to door.
Yourself?
Yep.
Literally?
Yep.
Just handing a flyer or knocking on the door?
Knocking on the door. I feel like knocking, yeah.
Literally door knocking. Like
door
old
knocking.
We're talking like 1980s.
You know
door
what's
to door,
interesting
like
I feel like
no one
people-
does that anymore.
No, I feel like people nowadays are not willing to put in that kind of work. If they
No.
can't find a good way to market something online with limited effort, and then they're willing to let their business fail because of that. But we know, like, no, sometimes you have to pound the pavement,
Yeah.
right? Go door to door, business to business,
Right.
and really just go all out on that.
One new concept, one new thing you can take back to your workplace, one new thing you can take back to your company, one new thing you can take back to your family to change the way you think and see and change everything about what you're doing and the actions you're going to take. All right, folks, welcome back to the Fireside Chats. Today in the house,
Woo!
we got Skylar Lewis. Okay. Skylar is one of the most confident men I know. In all honesty, right before we started the show, he's like, Troy, you know I'm going to be interviewed a lot in my lifetime, don't you? I was just busting his chops. And he's just so congruent. And one thing about Skylar, he's been super dynamic in so many areas of his life. Like, there's not an opportunity where you see somebody that's a true amalgamy of success in like all these random areas at such a young age. Skylar, and he didn't come from anything either. He came from a very like super humble background. He's built one of the probably one of the fastest growing companies in the nation in his industry right now. What he's doing, and it's like he's got an amazing wife and an amazing marriage. Like wonderful kids, a great father, great businessman, a great friend. I mean, a great son. I mean, like literally, you don't find the amalgamy of like so many areas. Like in his body, he works out and trains. I mean, does all these crazy things within the ocean earlier today. Trains every day. Just really balances education. Looks at his goals every day. He has all these habits that. We just, hopefully you get to watch Scott Duffy's interview and talking about these little habits you do every day that just stack and get these compounding effects in your life. And he's someone that actually lives it, not teaches about it, not talks about it, but just actually lives it. He doesn't just hear something and say, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to talk about that and share the ideas. He's actually someone that actually says, oh, I'm going to take this idea, actually apply it. He wakes up every day, spends 30 minutes going through a bunch of series of tabs, which I'd love for you to dive in, explaining exactly what this is one day, and reading his goals every day, being clear on what he's actually really, truly grateful for. Like, what is his calendar for the day? What's his intention for the day? What's he going to make happen this day and this week? And he's just methodical about it. And the results are massive. Like literally, for being so young, owning a house on Newport Beach Peninsula, literally like house on the beach, house right off the beach is his house. And for those out there that don't know what that means, it's a huge accomplishment. And have I don't even know, he has 40 trucks right now that they own just for at one of their offices right down the road here in Temecula for his business, and crews going out and doing this business, and it's exploding. He started literally out of a crappy old Astro van.
Yep.
Right? And he would park the Astro van around the corner when he'd go on dates with his wife so she wouldn't see it.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, so my wife.
Let's start there.
Amazing introduction, Troy. Thank you. I mean, interview done. Stamp. Boom. So I would say, the Astro van was kind of interesting. So I started out, I grew up in Hemet, kind of a smaller town, and had a more of a humble kind of upbringing. Yeah. And where the Astrovan story comes into play is my dad owned a little carpet cleaning company, and so he would allow. I was 22. I was at the lowest point of my life. This was like 10, 11 years ago, and just struggling hardcore. I mean, literally borrowing money monthly just to pay my bills, just in a really bad spot. And so I asked my dad if I could borrow his Astrovan to drive around temporarily. And so it was a horrible smelling van. It was a carpet cleaning van, but there was something wrong with it. The inside, he didn't know how to clean the inside, so it smelled like
mold
sewage. And,
like,
it was horrific. And so I would drive this around, really embarrassed of it, but I mean, I was doing what I could to get by.
Yeah.
And ended up meeting this incredible hot chick, and met her and ended up going on a date. And so I used to park the Astrovan around the corner from the restaurants and then go walk all the way around the block to go meet Jessica.
That's so awesome.
for our dates. And so
she loves that story.
She does, yeah.
She loves telling that. Like, that's true love right there.
Because she eventually,
you know what I mean?
she eventually saw the van and got to ride in it only one time. She wouldn't ride in it again.
No.
So that was kind of, that was neat. My more humble beginnings for sure.
It's just a great story. Like, people need to know, like. And Scott and I were just talking about this. Like, they always see these success series, and they start like one office, one person by themselves, and then they jump like 5-10 years, and there's thousands of employees or something. You're talking about Rockefeller or whatever, or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whatever. You miss the day one through like day 1,000.
Yep.
Like, and people don't tell that story. And I feel like we live in that world, you and I. Day 1 to 1,000 with Accelerator, with EO, with all these, and we actually really understand like what these people went through. What'd you do on day 1? What'd you do on day 2? How'd you go from an Astrovan of one beat up old Astrovan cleaning carpets to 40 brand new vehicles that are representing your company with all these decals and logos all over them and looks cool, and everyone's dressed professional and all the right tools, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment that you're in these warehouses you have. Like, how'd you go from having no money, literally losing your ass every month? You were broke as crap. You had to borrow money from your parents, borrow your parents' van. You
ended up having to file bankruptcy and just straight struggle from the bottom.
And then go from that, literally, even like a few years ago, to having huge profits, I mean, successful and dynamic and then impacting lives and building a great company.
Yeah.
So what does this look like?
I mean, it's interesting. So people think success, happens overnight, like you talked about, and it's so rare that it actually does. So we bought one van. Me and my wife Jessica, we bought one van.
Yeah.
We had before we started that company, we had started a little call center. We had a call center in San Diego where we did different types of debt product, and we built that up to about 18 people when I think it was 22. So the phase was 21 struggling, 22 or 22ish met Jessica, and then by the time I was 23, we had a decent business in San Diego. Ended up selling that, and then we went and bought a carpet cleaning van, an actual carpet cleaning van. I gave my dad's van.
Business.
So we sold that. Yep.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you sold your first business at 23.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a little under 2. Yeah, we had 18.
So literally in 1 year, you started doing some marketing.
We built that up quick.
You built it up to 18 employees in 1 year, 12 months.
Well, actually, I built it up to 18 1099 people. And didn't realize that was not the right way to do it. Ended up getting audited.
By California EDD.
EDD got audited by EDD. Okay. Oh yeah, 23.
Yeah.
Just confused.
Didn't know what to do.
No, you learn as you go. Yeah. So I figured I could have them commission only.
Funny,
commission only. I do not recommend having 1099 commission only people.
In California.
If you have them under your roof.
Yes.
And if you control their time, and if they're strictly sales, you provide all the leads, et cetera, et cetera.
These are all the things you learn. You're building a business the hard way.
Exactly.
Yes,
so struggle with that. Ended up selling that business and then moved back to Temecula. And then we bought. We were looking for something to do, and my dad had his little carpet cleaning business. And so I asked him. I said, "Dad, can I copy kind of what you're doing? I'm really good at marketing. I can, we've done well with marketing. I can go market this business in Temecula." So bought the one. We ended up buying one van. Kind of showed me how to do some carpet cleaning. Yeah. And then just started scaling it. It was me and Jessica. We started passing out flyers door to door. Literally put coupon, those little carpet cleaning flyers you get with little coupon outlets, like 3 rooms, $99.
So you go door to door.
We went door to door.
Yourselves.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
Just handing a flyer or knocking on the door?
Knocking on the door. I feel like knocking. Yeah, Jessica was in ADT alarm sales before, so she was pretty good at door knocking.
Literally door knocking. Like
door knocking.
We're talking like 1980s.
You know
door
what's
to door.
interesting
Like
I feel like
no one does that anymore.
No, I feel like people nowadays are not willing to put in that kind of work. If they
No.
can't find a good way to market something online with limited effort, and then they're willing to let their business fail because of that. But we know, like, no, sometimes you have to pound the pavement, right? Go door to door, business to business, and really just go all out on that.
No, I went door to door as a kid. I would sell, like, I painted numbers on sidewalks, the house numbers. I was like 14 years old when I started this one, and I'd literally go door to door, hand out a flyer with our pricing. They had a couple different options of raised letters, lower letters, like kind of like glow in the dark type letters. You had different styles you could buy from us. And knock on the door, hand them a flyer, and said, "Hey, we're gonna come back around next weekend. If you want it done, it's gonna be $20 to put the little letters on there." And we were making money out of our fists. It was almost like drug money. People were just A, it's kids. B, if they didn't have numbers on their sidewalks, everybody wanted it. Mm-hmm. It was a brilliant business, and it just worked so well. And it was this old school door knocking, and we're just kids and didn't know better. We're like, oh, how else are you gonna tell people what you got going on?
Dude,
or detailing business.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. That's neat. So people. Yeah, if you ask people to go, hey, to start your business, you're gonna have to go knock on 10,000 doors.
I mean, even when we started this company, I literally went and delivered baklava. We had my buddies, who was kind of like a business partner, Steve. His mom made us literally trays of baklava. It was cheap for us to buy. We had to buy sugar, flour, and I think eggs or something, and that was it to make baklava. And she was amazing at it. So she would make, and we had literally an office full of baklava, and we'd wrap these plates with all we could afford, cheap plastic plates, cellophane, a blue ribbon, and we'd have a business card on it. And we'd go to all these attorneys' offices that are used to getting $100, $500 gifts or whatever, or taking out to fancy dinners. All we had was this cheap, maybe it was a value of $2.
Did that work?
Plate. It worked great.
Wow.
Like these attorneys started giving us business. And that's how we got this company off the ground, was delivering baklava at first. It's
See,
the craziest
that's
story.
pounding the pavement, man. I love that.
Literally day in, day out. Like
See,
20, 40 drops a day, different locations.
I meet so many internet entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs regularly that would not be willing to put in that kind of work. They wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't go out there and just start cold calling. And going down a list and making the calls and hitting the pavement and door knocking. And so, so I feel like times have changed, which leaves it wide open for the hustlers, the people that are really willing to grind.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
I mean, even on the internet marketing, like, again, putting in the time on Instagram, liking, commenting on people's
Grinding.
stuff, building,
A lot of time.
responding back to people that have real questions to build a brand, right? Really answering the phone call yourself. Like, I'm responding back on Instagram myself to a lot of business questions. People like, how do I start a business? How do I become successful? Or how do I keep my business going? How to raise capital? Like, and just sharing whatever I can to actually, whatever their questions are, myself. And I think I just voice to text because it makes up a lot faster.
So you're saying you answer to everybody watching this? You answer personally for those?
For
wow.
all a lot of the responses.
That's
like,
great.
No, not the questions like if people are like, hello, and then I want $150. No, there's like people that filter those.
That's awesome.
So
it's a work. It's a grind.
Yeah, I filter those because I am not going to waste my time with people like, I need $150 or I need a $10,000 investment. Like this, sorry, we don't invest. We don't do any of that. But we'll answer questions, right? At least right now. It's starting to become overwhelming, but it's taking about an hour a day of literally responding to all these people. But I generally care because someone responded to me at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I had access to somebody somewhere at different moments of my life that said, Troy, what about this? Like, one idea.
Well, now you have access to a lot of people.
Unlimited.
So what's unique about Troy and what I admire is Troy's gone out of the way and you've gone out of the way to connect, man. You connect and you upgrade. I feel like what's helped us create, or me and my family and my wife, we have 2 boys, a 3 and a 6-year-old. But what's helped us create a lot of success is the associations that we've created 100%. And continuing to upgrade them. And so you've done that on a regular basis. Troy, I mean, you're all about connecting with the highest possible level people that you can find. And most people say
I didn't know that was valuable. I didn't even know I could even do it.
Game changing.
I mean, I grew up so, like, being in California, you're just exposed to it everywhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know it was even possible. I mean, it literally, I just didn't know it was possible.
Do you know the reason we moved from Temecula to Orange County?
Just to connect.
It was for association. So what's interesting is we moved, we had joined EO Entrepreneurs Organization, and we moved from we were in Temecula,
Uh-huh.
and we were like in the kind of the nicest area of Temecula, and so
Yeah.
we kind of feel like we had made it to the top, and we're like, well, what's next? And then I remember the phrase, you know, you're either growing or dying. Like, man, I think we just need to step up and make some new associations and go start out at the
Huge.
bottom of
You're
somewhere.
growing or you're dying. Like, it's so
100%.
true.
That's-
Like Scott
that's-
was just
that's
talking
what we-
about people
that's what
forget
we
to
live by.
stop, the start, keep learning.
Yep.
You got to keep learning every day in some intentional
100%.
way. And learning is not just more information, but application and applying and living out these things,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
crazy because otherwise you can get all this mind candy, but until you're actually living it out
Yep.
and trying to like stick all these things in your life, it's not really learning.
Yeah, people. I
You
feel
know?
like people are on a heavy information diet. So knowledge,
Yes.
you know, I don't believe the knowledge is power deal.
Correct.
Like I see so many people that read books. I had one of my friends read a book, and I said, hey, what'd you? Cool. So and he finished it. He's like, hey, I'm done with the book. I'm like, great, man. What'd you learn? Like, what'd you start applying? He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah. What were your takeaways? Like, what are you doing different now from the book? He's like,
Yeah.
no, it's just good information. I said, good information? Like, what do you mean good? Like, that literally, the book's meant to change you. Like, the way I look at it, a book is meant to change me where I do something different. After every book I read, I take something and I execute on it. And then it changes me. And eventually, over the next 20, 30, 40 years, those little tiny things I did different are going to have exponential results in the long term.
So how in the world, Skylar, like I know a lot of people, but you've been able to absorb, adapt, and apply like very few people I've ever met. Like why you? Why have you know to apply your body every day? Why is it that you knew to apply all this stuff to business? Why did you know all this marketing? Why did you apply this stuff to the family, relationships? You go to church, you're being a great dad, you're filling your calendar up methodically, you're disciplined with your behaviors. Why? I mean, what is it that you actually notice about you that you just, the way you think, the way you process information, like, because not, like you said, like, we just don't, we're in a world of consuming information, but not taking the actions once we learn it consistently for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And you just grabbed it, do it, and then do it, and don't stop. And the results keep coming in. And Scott was saying, Duffy here, he was like, just 5 minutes a day, and the compounding effect is like, you're doing it week in, week out.
There's a book
whereas-
called The Compound Effect.
yeah,
which is
by
a good
Darren
book.
Hardy.
Yeah.
And literally, you are living that. Like few I've really known. Like really, truly. I mean,
I appreciate that. That's,
Garrett J. White's like that. Like, I mean, both of us know Garrett. I mean, he's like one of the few other people that actually truly lives this at such a high level in all area of his life. And you're like that. I mean, 110%.
Well, I think I've committed myself to personal development. Who was the guy that said that you need to spend more time working on yourself than you do working on your business?
I don't know, but I think it's attributed to Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. Okay, so that's a valuable.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Jim Rohn.
A valuable principle.
Yes.
It's not always applicable. It's not always
Correct.
doable, right? However, the idea that just continuous personal development, and so working on myself. So working on myself for me is just not reading a book. It's making that change. That's working on myself. So you've spent a ton of money on. Well, actually, I don't know how much you spent on personal development and
It's a lot.
a lot. So yeah, I think
I don't even want to
I
say
think
it out
like
loud
2
almost anymore because I'm looking going,
I know.
That's a lot
I know.
of
So,
money. And
but-
on a yearly basis.
I know. So I
And
think
for decades.
but
like
that's-
3 decades now.
that's what I feel like. That's what's helped me level up. You know, when you're playing a game or a video game, I used to be big into video games when I was younger. And you want to level up. The goal is always to level up
Yeah.
your guy, right?
Sure.
And so you want to level up that guy. And so the way I level up is I go and I focus and pour into myself, and I go to courses. I've done it. I was in
Why is
Tony
that
Robbins
important
Platinum.
to you?
Because I know that if I join Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership and I'm able to go to multiple events and have those associations, I know that by me learning these things, it changes me. Like when I go to a seminar, it's going to change who I am at my core, and there's going to be tweaks. And then over the next 40 years or 50 years, I'm going to be a different person because of that tweak.
Yeah.
And so the more of those tweaks I get, and the
Out
more
of curiosity, we're like Tony Robbins saw, right? I've never actually done this with anybody yet, but I'm really curious. Like, so why are all these tweaks important? Why is it important for you to level up? I'm curious because if I can learn your psychology, and we can learn what Skylar's psychology is, because this is an example of a human being that actually really does apply everything he learns, and I'm blown away because I really spend a lot of time with a lot of people
Yeah.
that talk a lot. They talk a great game, but they don't live it in all areas of the depth you do. And I'm curious, like, what are the beliefs that you've stacked, the evidence, this is one of Skylar's words, evidence he stacked to say this is important, doing these actions are important, creating these behaviors are important, so I attain this in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So why is all this so important to you to do?
Honestly, so I don't know if it's.
It's okay.
Well, I know.
up.
I know why I do it. You know, I do it because I never want to be in that same space that I was at. You know,
So you had a lot of pain.
at the bottom. Yeah. Oh yeah. The pain I feel like is totally what helps us grow, and I feel bad for people that haven't experienced a lot of pain. I feel like pain is just so powerful and it's so motivating, and it's an amazing tool, and it builds character.
Yeah.
People that haven't experienced a lot of pain, they don't have. From my experience, they don't have a ton of depth to them because they've kind of had an easy lifestyle. So I really connect more with people that have struggled, that have had different types of struggles, either in relationships with pornography or struggles financially or struggles spiritually or whatever that struggle is. And so I don't want to ever be.
So what was this struggle that was so great? The pain was so great. Like Tony Robbins says, right? Tony Robbins says we do things to gain pleasure or avoid pain in our lives.
Exactly.
Like we gain pleasure or avoid pain. I feel like a lot of us I know do a lot of things really truly just avoid pain.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us are doing a lot of things just to avoid pain. What was this pain? What was this so what did you experience? What were you feeling? What was it? What did it look like, taste like, see like? What was so painful for you that made you be like, man, I am never going back to that again. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get away from that and go this direction and become this vision I see of myself.
Yeah, I think part of it was definitely how I grew up. I remember going to food banks like when I was younger. So I grew up in like a.
You went to food banks as a
Yeah,
kid.
I used to go to food banks as a kid.
Wow.
It wasn't all the time. However, there was definitely points where we would be at low points, at low points of financially, where we'd have to go to food banks. I grew up in a mobile home for many years, 800 square foot house for another 5-6 years. Like so, I saw this and I knew.
So you grew up like almost in true poverty then.
It was on the verge. It wasn't true. I mean,
not like completely poverty.
Like
where
my mom
homeless.
worked 12-hour shifts as
Correct.
a nurse. So she worked 12 hours. I lived with her part of the time. I lived with my dad part of the time, and my dad.
And they were separated.
And they were separated. Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So I grew up in this interesting struggle of financial constraint and also family constraint too. So I saw both sides. I saw my family struggle to provide for us, and then I also saw the separation and pain of not living, having good choices made family-wise, like relationship-wise.
Yeah.
And so I saw this, and it did create a lot of, I would say, some pain and some motivation. I was a happy kid, but then I also saw all this stuff kind of happen before me.
Yeah.
And so I was very motivated early on as a kid to go create success and to have good relationships.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to have a divorced, I wanted to stay married to my wife. I wanted to have just amazing financial success.
Yeah.
And I believe that my childhood it really propelled me to be very, very motivated to not only create financial success, but also have balance.
Yes.
I think that's kind of what's made what you talked about when, like you said, I'm successful in different areas, is I've made it a conscious point to stay very balanced. I want to hustle in business, but then I also want to connect and do date nights every night with my wife, right? Not every night, once a week.
You guys do once a week?
Yeah, Fridays or Saturday nights. Yep.
That's
so once a
awesome.
week, we're doing it and I track it, and so I have a spreadsheet where I track a lot of things.
Greg
And
Keys does that.
I believe
Greg
in
Keys,
tracking.
because you really see the truth of what you're actually doing. You're tracking.
Yep.
Like when I'm using the app and I'm tracking everything, body being balanced in business, my life's even more incredibly growing.
Yeah.
Like when I'm tracking everything, am I getting my workouts? When as soon as I stop tracking everything, workouts start dropping off. I'm not doing all the things I'm promising myself when I'm not doing the planning every Sunday. Everything goes to crap. You know what I mean? It's so. I played with both sides. I mean, really intensely, and I can even tell you now, I'm not. This last 4 months has been so chaotic and so many things going on that I've allowed myself not to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And the results started pounding, and my body is what suffered. Other things did really great, but my body suffered this last 4 months.
Because it's whatever you track, you improve. So if
Correct.
you stop tracking, your workouts and your body or your percentage of body fat or whatever you're trying to get. If you stop tracking,
Literally, I was
and
writing it on the
life
bathroom
gets
wall.
crazy.
The percentage of body fat. And I was doing great, man. I was started off here over years. I was down to here, and then literally just moved, stopped doing it, stopped working out, new location, and it is just
Life happens.
yeah.
Yeah, because and life does happen.
Correct.
So if we're not consistently building and one of the habits that I love is, and I feel like that's totally changed me as a person, is the habit of tracking daily, like daily tracking. Because
What do you do? Like, tell people like what you do, and this is your camera.
Yeah.
Like, really explain this, because I think people need to understand. Like it's great to say, oh, tracking, but what does this really look like? So people, when you're talking, can see the picture of you waking up at this time, and you're going to this. What is it? You say Google what tabs, or what are the tabs? Are they the tabs of like some type of websites? You're different going to websites and like Because I mean, I think when people can see what other people do, they're like, oh, that's easy. I can do that too, and it changes our belief about what's possible in our lives. Does that make sense? Of what we can do or how we can manifest more in our lives? Because we're saying, oh, it's my buddy. If Skylar can do it, I can do it. It's only a half hour a day. Great. Well, I can spend a half hour a day. And we change our beliefs and we start stacking with evidence that this is possible. And then we see the results with all this evidence. We're like, oh my God. So doing this gets this. And like, people can really link it. It's why we get people on the show that are dynamic in specific areas. They're really trying to pull like, what are they really doing? What are they, like Scott Duffy, the whole show, he's great, saying all these great quotes. But when he started talking about what he does, what he says to himself every day, you just feel the energy go, oh, that's powerful. No wonder Scott's. And he's like, one of the things, like, how can I serve more people every day to God, the universe, or whatever? And that was when I was like, that's right there. It makes why Scott Duffy's who Scott Duffy is. He asks that question.
It's a powerful question.
Every day to himself. And like everything else he said, he had all these amazing quotes about business, amazing quotes about working out. But when he said that, I was like, man, no wonder, Scott, you're doing what you're doing, impacting lives.
He has a big heart.
You know what I mean? And like, so what is it that you're doing that?
So today, today, Saturday.
Yeah.
Woke up at 5 a.m. Did my 30-minute. I have a 30-minute kind of morning routine, and so back on the tracking thing. So I don't know. It's challenging. So that you got tracking and you have habits.
Correct.
And I would say, learning to track your life is one of the best habits that somebody could actually build. Learning to track the different areas of your life. And so what I've done is I started tracking tracking things like my activities and what I'm doing probably about 4.5 years ago, and I started doing it daily, and it's taken me 4 years to really. I have a list
and how'd
of
you learn
8
to do
different
this?
things.
Where'd you pick this up at? Was there a book? Was there a person?
It's probably a seminar. I don't recall.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of good books on that.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, what was
Darren
for
Hardy
you?
has a couple of good books. I don't recall which book it was. I think it was a seminar. I think it was PSI seminars.
Got it, okay.
And so they break down, you set goals.
Yeah.
And then so basically what I do is I wake up in the morning 5 a.m. and then I jump on my computer and I have a spreadsheet that shows every week.
So you have tabs in that spreadsheet.
Yep, so I have Google Chrome.
Got it.
And then what I do is if you have your bookmark
It's like a spreadsheet
folder.
though.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep, it's a spreadsheet, so it's a Google spreadsheet.
Got it,
Super
okay.
easy. You can do it from your phone.
Yeah.
You can do it on the computer.
Got it.
And basically, I just have my goals on my left side of the spreadsheet, and then I have boxes for each goal that go all the way through the whole year. So I literally track my whole year. And so I track different things. My first thing I track, and so I have a weekly. It's week 1, week 2, week 3, week
so
4.
You have 52 weeks.
Yep, exactly.
on the
52
spreadsheet.
weeks. Yep. And then I have my goal amount of workouts. So my goal is 5 workouts a week. So I track every single day. I wake up in the morning. Hey, did I do my workout yesterday? And I'll put a 1 in there.
So you're doing the reviewing the day that you just had.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So in the morning, I review the whole previous day. So I track, it. And so what I've noticed is when I stop tracking key things, I stop doing them.
Correct.
Or I slow down on them. As an example, one thing I track is how often I have sex. That's super important to me. Most people probably wouldn't track that.
It's important to them, but they don't track it because they're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like they're thinking about sex, but they're not going to track
So
it.
to my core, I know that what I track improves. I know for a fact what
Yeah.
I track, like I'm going to work
That's a
on.
core belief right
it's a
there, you
total
said.
core belief. And so
You were so congruent right there when you said that.
So if I track sex, I know I'm going
Yeah.
to be more focused and more aware on it, where I'm going to make sure that I'm improving on that area of my life, because intimacy
And
in a
connect with your
marriage
wife.
is
you guys are
so
very,
important.
And you guys are years into this with kids. When most marriages are
Yeah.
falling back 7 years, Right?
We're improving.
You know what I mean?
So our sex life is getting better every year.
You know what I mean? Like, but 7 years in.
Yeah.
8 years now?
We've been married 9 years.
9 years. We've been together 10.
Yep.
Well, 10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
And like, I mean, you guys are dynamic.
Thank you.
I mean, like, seriously, like, really, truly in love.
Thank you.
And
What?
so Skylar had a birthday party on a boat, which is John Wayne's old yacht for his wife, okay? And best thing ever. I swear to God, it's the funniest thing ever. Best thing ever. Amazing birthday party. You went way out for her. Any girl would be super happy. Jess was stoked what you did. But at the end of the night, this is how dynamic their relationship. Skylar did a dance in front of everybody for her. It was like a seductive dance for her. And like you nailed it. I don't know if that was planned. I don't know what it was, but just the connection you guys had. And you don't see a lot of couples that are really connected like that. And it was so beautiful. It was so perfect. It was so much love and so much truth and so much connection. And it was like, wow, Skylar, that right there spoke it all.
That's neat. Yeah, that was my. She's so important. She's my princess, my queen, she's everything to me. And I think part of the reason, again, our relationship is so great is I effed it up kind of in the beginning. I made some dumb choices,
Yeah.
in my relationship with her in the very beginning.
In like year one?
Yep, year one. Right when we were dating, ended up cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the worst thing I literally could have ever done because
Yeah.
it's going to create pain and cause her pain for forever. Like this,
Yeah.
it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And so it's my goal to be the best man and the best husband that I can be
Yeah.
to her. And so because
you
of
live that.
pain,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know how it would be if I didn't. If I wouldn't have messed up that bad in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be just an average husband. My goal is I want to go above and beyond because, like, she deserves it. Like
Yeah.
our wives, our women, 100% women. They completely deserve to have an amazing, incredible man. So I want to be that. I don't want her to find that somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And on tracking, I track date nights.
Yeah.
And so like I'm tracking these things that I know will create an amazing relationship, in our life. So yeah. So
awesome.
yeah. Thank you. But thanks for bringing it up. I'm glad you had a fun at that birthday.
No, but just watching what you did for her, because that's not comfortable for you. You're not a dancer. I know this about you. Like,
Really?
Well, yeah. Like, okay, you may think you are. He's not a dancer.
I thought I did so good on that
you
dance.
killed that.
No,
You killed it. No, you killed it on that one. But we were at a Halloween party one time. He's like, Skylar gonna dance? I was like, I don't know. And like, it's like pulling teeth to get him on the dance floor with us at different events. But like, you played all out for her. I mean, you played. I mean, like it was. And the dance was impressive.
I planned for 6 months for that birthday.
Did you really?
Yep, 6 months for that
Did you
birthday.
practice that dance?
I took her to New York. So the week before I took her to New York, had an epic, first class, awesome, amazing trip to New York. And then I planned, and we had 25 people that went on this yacht and had an amazing dinner.
Yeah, it was great.
And the dance
They
and the
did
full
everything.
thing. And so it was.
Did you plan that dance?
No. No, I didn't actually plan. I didn't actually plan the full
Okay.
dance, but I gave the guy one of her favorite songs, and
I
then
got
it
it.
came on,
And
and
you
then
just-
I'm like, okay, let's do
You
this.
just acted it out.
And then I grabbed her
That's
hand.
fine. Like, it was like a choreographed.
It was pretty.
It was impressive, and you did that for her, and I knew she
Yeah.
would like it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and like
I got
watching
brownie
that.
points for that one,
you-
for
I'm
sure.
sure you did. Like,
At least for
like,
1
and
year,
people
until
are
next
talking
birthday.
about this. This is
Unless for-
legendary now. This dance is legend. Like, I mean, it's legendary. It was a seductive dance for
Don't
his
show
wife.
that clip to anybody. If anybody.
No,
thinks
I
that.
don't think. I don't know if anyone recorded it. They were too shocked.
Yeah.
You
So
know, but-
she's super important to me, and so
That's
I think
amazing.
I think that's what we invest. We
So
constantly
what is that?
invest
the
in the
date
relationship.
night. What else are you doing consciously?
Somebody
that make
made the
your marriage
comment,
the best?
marriage is, it's not 50-50, right? It's not one person putting 50% and the other person
Mm-hmm.
putting 50%. It's both people putting 100%
Yeah.
into the marriage. Like that's an amazing way to look at it. So
Yeah.
it's me giving 100% of myself to the marriage.
Yeah.
So it's going all out on our birthdays.
Uh-huh.
It's date nights. It's keeping track of intimacy. It's tickling her at night, like rubbing her back at night.
Yeah.
It's doing all these things that really is me investing in. And again, I'm not perfect at it for sure.
Correct.
However, I'm constantly thinking, what can I do? Because I know how to fill up her love tank. And then she, on the other hand, totally pours back in.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible woman,
Yeah.
seductress, like
Yeah.
amazing queen. She's totally become a different woman.
Yes.
As the more I've made her my queen.
And even over the years, like you guys have even improved drastically. I know from things you've said that she said, and the last 2-3 years. I mean, like you guys are going to levels that most people don't even think are possible. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like we want to max out not only just marriage but intimacy and just everything on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And so I feel blessed by God, and like God totally brought me to her. So I feel very blessed to have that. So I take it very serious. I take that relationship super serious. Like I'm not willing to mess up. And
No. I watch you. I mean, you don't look, you don't do anything. Like
I don't want to mess it up, man.
You don't do anything. I mean, like nothing. Like not even a comment comes out of your mouth. Like
No,
you are so congruent with this relationship with this wife. Like I'm so impressed.
I want to make sure. I've seen so much divorce. I think the statistic is, I was at church today, it was like 70% of divorce, of marriages fail, and I think that is even high in Christian, in spiritual. I mean it doesn't. Right. I mean, we're horrible people. It's a challenging thing to be in a relationship, and I think it's just very hard. So yeah, I do take it really serious.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
So we've talked about your body.
Yep.
We've talked about your balance. Your being. How do you stay sane with all these demands on you? Your business is chaotic. People call you at 2 a.m. with water disasters, entire floodings of offices or houses. Like, how do you stay sane with the wife, the kids, the business, like on a regular basis, and not collapse?
I would say it's my commitment to my habits and my morning routine.
So back to that 30 minutes
is how I stay sane. I literally
So
start.
you track your goals.
Yep.
What else are you doing in some of these other tabs you got?
So what I do is I track my goals. I have a Google spreadsheet, and then
and you have like 5, 10, 15.
So I have my body
Uh-huh.
that I track how many workouts I do, and I set a goal for the quarter every
Okay.
quarter, and then I have my eating, how well I eat. I try to keep it down. I'm kind of addicted to sugar. Is my down, not fully addicted, but like I love cookies and sweets like that. I love pastries or like I mean. So I track making sure I'm under 35 grams of sugar per day, and I track date night, and then intimacy, and then I track my if I'm reading a book or not, and then I track if I read the Bible or not, and a meditation, and there's probably one more. And business, and then I have 2 business goals. So I track 8 to 9 goals on there every single day.
Got it.
So I do that. Then I do affirmations.
Okay.
Right. I read.
Are these affirmations you've created for yourself, or
over the years? Yeah, over the last 4 or 5 years of going to a lot of personal development seminars and reading books and meeting great people. Yep. I read my affirmations, and then I have my Bible. I journal. So I journal.
Bible journal.
Yep. I journal, and then I have my business. I have my business kind of goals and routine.
Okay.
And
what does that look like for
so
people?
basically, I set 3 outcomes for the week.
Got it.
So every single week, I say, hey, what are the top 3 things that I need to
Hiring
accomplish?
somebody, firing somebody.
Yep. Like when we
working
hired
on
our
payroll.
When we hired our general manager, he was on my outcome, like find a general manager
Yeah.
for many weeks until I found that
Got it.
GM
Okay.
that runs it. And so I'd say that's it. So that's it takes me about 30 minutes
to go through those
to get through those actually 5 tabs.
5 tabs.
Yep. And so I open up all 5 tabs, and then I go through them, and then after that I go work out. Come back home, and then try to spend a couple minutes with the kids before they go off to school.
And you go to work.
And then go to work. Yeah.
Work out of the house. You work at the office.
Yeah.
You're
Go to the
bouncing
office
around.
about 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So I would just want everyone to catch this, like, and just see this and like replay what he just went through. And the question is, where in your life do you need to add this in? Where in my life do I need to re-add things in again? So I get back to the disciplines. Like, and I know, like, this is why I'm so into this world, because I'll do things great and I'll get amazing results, and then I'll stop, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm going back to crappy results. And I'm looking at my behaviors and why is that there? Like even his congruence, like the pain was so bad in these different areas, he never wanted to experience that again. So he's done all these things to move his life forward. And some of you may not have the luxury of having that pain, but you may have the luxury of imagining what the pleasure would be of creating these habits. Imagine the luxury and the amazingness of having this dream relationship, having this dream body or the dream marriage or the dream business or the dream just peace and congruency about your life. And you can see by his behaviors what he's done and how he stacked his life to get these results consistently day in, day out, to build one of the most amazing marriages I've seen. the kids, the wife, the business, the body, the peace of mind that he has, the congruency, the confidence that he knows he's going to do great things and impact a lot of lives and build great companies and build a great family. And so I'm hoping that some of the things you've heard from Skylar today, you can take these things and not just, these things can't be taught. They've got to be caught. Like, I hope you catch the energy. You catch why he does this, and you catch a vision of what's possible in your own life today. So if you wanted to leave anything like closing statements or anything for anybody, this is your camera. Go in and share with whatever you'd like that shows up in your spirit right now that you'd like to pass on to people, that you can pour into them in some capacity.
Yeah, no, I would just say really just focus on your habits and your daily habits. That's been game changing for my life. I would say two things. One is daily habits, really just getting clear on what things you need to do each day to fill your cup up and to fill you up, and to create that you need to do to create success, and stick with those habits. Don't give up a month into it or 60 days. Like, do a year, give it a year of these habits, and you'll find out that you actually love it and you want to keep those habits going the rest of your life. I would say that, and then associations. I truly believe that, like what we're doing in our conversations, upgrade your associations. Don't be afraid to move on from some of your past relationships. Like, that's the biggest fear I think people have is, cool, if I go make new friendships and new associations that I'm pushing to be with these really successful people in these different areas, I'm gonna have to give up some of the relationships that I've had for the last 20 years. That's yes and no. Like, maybe you spend a lot less time with them because you do only have so much time. So don't be afraid. Don't get stuck. Don't be afraid. You are who you hang out with, and you are who you spend time with. And so if you're not willing to spend a little bit less time with the people in your past, or the people that aren't serving you or helping you get to the next level in life, then you're gonna have a real hard time getting to that next level. So one is habits, and two is just, make some new associations. Spend time with Troy. Spend time with other people that they're creating massive success in spiritually or financially or in relationships. So I hope everybody has an incredible 2019. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Like, seriously, way to go. So, folks, thank you again for watching the Fireside Chats. Thank you, Skylar, for being a part of this and really opening and being honest. Yeah. Like, Skylar was real, he was raw, he was very relevant for this moment in time. Like, the world needs to hear the truth of dynamic individuals. What are their fears? What are their successes? What was the pain, the real pain that someone felt, and being that open and saying, here's what I've done, and this is who I am right now. This is where I've been, this is where I am now, and this is where I'm going. So thank you very much, sir. And folks, thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Fireside Chats.